Which rub?
Chinese spiced.
Nice. Welcome. You're up in the front row with Carol.
Come on up. Listen. How are you? Good. So nice to see you.
Did you have a week?
Have a
Carrie,
seat.
did you have a week?
Yeah. Bonjour, everyone. Oh my God, that is loud. Hello, YouTubers. Good morning. Tom, say
I
hello.
already
to
said
the-
hello.
Oh, okay.
You were busy
Oh,
with the
good.
ladies.
I was. We haven't.
Today's my happiest day to have all the
Because
chicks.
it's ladies' night. Oh, what a night.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I
Rocking it.
feel all right.
I'm always afraid you're going to hurt yourself when you act like this.
No.
No.
We're thinking about expanding into a music show.
That would be so fun. So
I did
fun.
see Lee Michelle in Funny Girl last week.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Was it wonderful?
She was good. The show was lame, but she was good.
Oh.
You don't know Funny Girl? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
should see him in his tutu.
that is the worst. That had to be the worst play to be an extra in, like a chorus person, because
Why?
it is 100% about her, and she gets all the big songs, and they have really nothing to do. Like if you ever seen Hamilton, right? That
Every cast member.
that cast is busy.
Yeah.
And they're
Completely
effective and
different.
entertaining, and this cast. Did like singing along with Lee Michelle though. That was fun.
Didn't nobody in the audience poke you over the head and said, shh, shh.
No, I
He
think
actually sings well.
most interesting part for me was that the play was very much like the play. The movie was very much embellished into a whole different scenario, and so it didn't have the big "Oh my man, I love him so" song, because that was a movie song, not a play song. I hadn't really thought about it.
Knowledge.
It's good. When you talk like this, nobody else knows what you're saying. So that's
I
good.
understand totally. Welcome to the Hot Stove Society show on Cairo Radio. It's Chef Tom Douglas.
And Terry Rotero, the chef in a hat.
We're happy to be here at the beautiful Hotel Andra in downtown Seattle. Annie's busy cooking breakfast for our guests. And Pamela's back from her sojourn to the East Coast. So am I.
Yes.
I was back there for a minute also. It's good to be back in Seattle. What a couple of lovely days we've had. And now I feel like it's home starting today. So,
We went from winter to summer
and then back.
and then back.
God, there was lots of lightning yesterday,
Yeah.
last night, this morning. If you want to join us at some point here in the studio or watch us on YouTube Live, go to Hot Stove Society for tickets, or go to Tom Douglas & Co. to watch our YouTube channel every Thursday morning when we tape here at the Hot Stove Kitchens. And also you can check out our upcoming classes. We look forward to an entertaining cookbook dinner with Michaela. She was on last week.
She was on last week.
Yeah.
She's pretty spicy. I think
Always.
she's going to do a great class.
Always spicy. May 12th is hers?
Yeah.
May 12th is her hands-on pasta class. We have a paella party class coming up with Chef Bridget on the 19th, and classy crepes on May 20th. Are you teaching the crepes?
No.
We can't afford
but I
him.
come here
Oh,
and-
we can't afford them?
Man, what
I
he
bet
charge-
Kathy makes a better crepe.
I used to
anything.
make.
Probably.
I used to make. I
She's
used to
here.
make crepe for free. Now it's like no, not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. You're hard to come by now. Big show for you today. Pam, did you miss all the flowers while you were on the East Coast? Your yard is full of lilacs and cherry blossoms.
Oh, they waited for me.
Did they wait for
Yeah,
you?
it's perfect.
She and my wife, they walked down the alleys of Seattle with a small pair of clippers in their back pockets.
Yeah, I have a wife that does the same thing.
Yeah. And they go, and all of a sudden they have a bouquet.
Yeah.
And the poor neighbors are in tears, like, what happened to my...
I don't walk. I have a getaway car.
You have a getaway car. And you feel like if they're hanging into the alley, they're fair game.
Yes.
Okay.
You pay a Uber driver to follow you around while you're picking around.
It's peak of the season time. I would say we're just a minute before the peak of asparagus season, but it is a delicious crop this year. I've had several already out of the Northern California area, and we're going to talk a little bit about asparagus because it is coming on strong. Friends of the company, registered dietitian Jeanine Sherry has tips on speed scratch dinners and stocking your pantry in a healthy way. Carol's here to talk about our brand new All-Star Rub. In
Oh,
honor.
yeah.
We couldn't say it on the thing like it's an honor for Major League Baseball because you're not allowed to
Oh.
do that. But so we just called it All-Star Rub.
Okay.
But it's we have
That's a nuance.
Yeah, we have the baseball game this year here at I don't even know. It's not Safeco Field anymore. It's T-Mobile Park. Yeah, T-Mobile Park. I'm showing my age. I remember a day when it was the Kingdom.
As long as you don't call it the Dome.
Mom knows best. What we've learned from our moms. If you've never taken a sojourn here to the Hot Stove Society, you haven't yet seen the new installation over in the corner of my mother's 6-burners, 2-oven, 2-broiler Wedgwood masterpiece that I inherited when she passed this year, and it's got a little place of honor at the hot stove now. We've been running a contest, Pam, and it ends at the end of this weekend after our last show. Is that right?
Yeah. It closes on the 5th. So by the time this is on the air, we'll have chosen our winner.
Oh, okay. So, and that was all about sharing a picture of your stove that you grew up with, and maybe a thought about your mom, and in honor of Mother's Day, what she made that was so delicious that you continue it on in your own life as we move forward. We have a Mother's Day edition of Food for Thought Tasty Trivia brought to you by Becky Guzak, who's in the audience today.
Yes.
Her trivias are difficult, though. She makes Pam look like
She goes in deep.
I think Richard gave you guys a hard time last week.
Oh, my God.
That was rough.
Ridiculous. And we're going to have our Taste of the Week, Chef, and that includes you.
Yes. I went to a place yesterday for lunch called Caspian. It's called Caspian. It's in Bellevue. And
Where?
in Bellevue.
Huh,
You know, the city that's growing on the east side of this town.
Yeah, it's consuming us.
Yes. Anyway, it was a very delicious lunch, and very surprisingly, it tasted like home food. Like it was very made with, you could tell it was all family running the place, and the food was very honest, very delicious. The hummus, to start, I'm like, well, you got to try the hummus first because it says Mediterranean food, and I believe it's called Caspian to start with. And so I was like, I'm going to try your hummus, and it might be a little bit light on the tahini. I like rich tahini in my hummus. Oh, I'm used to it, but still, it was very, very tasty and not too lemony, like we like it sometime.
Oh, you can't make it too lemony for me.
Well, let's see. There is different hummus flavor everywhere, but it was really good.
And was it more of a ground hummus or more of whipped?
No, whipped.
Whipped.
But it was actually, I think it was maybe even strained. I don't know if it was strained. No, because there was still a little bit of pieces here and there. So yogurt with shallots, really delicious, very simple, and just nice little dipping sauces to start. The pita bread was very interesting. I've never had pita bread like this. It was folded rectangle, very very thin. But the food, I had some beef skewer that were really absolutely spiced correctly and very, just delicious food. And I just want to give them a plug because I think it's worth a trip. If you're on Northway Up, Bellevue, it's close by, and if you're going in any close of that area, right off 520 there, it's really delicious. I believe the address is 1806 136 Place Northeast.
Cool. Thank you.
My Taste of the Week is I'm doing a collaboration with Mendocino Farms, which is a restaurant group out of California that's moving into downtown Seattle with 2 locations here in the near future. And they're more of a soup and sandwich kind of spot. And I'm all about anyone who's coming into downtown Seattle. I don't care if they take my business or whatever, but I like the
energy.
Energy, exactly. That's they're going to bring. And so I've been working on a sandwich collab of doing a Mexican style torta with a piece of Bristol Bay salmon, the sockeye salmon, that's breaded in a mixture of cornstarch and corn flour and cornmeal.
Wow.
So it's one of my favorite
Whoa,
dredges.
Lot
that I
going
use for
on
deep
there,
frying.
TD.
I know, but it's very simple, honestly. So it's 1/3 cornstarch, 1/3 masa harina, and 1/3 ground of medium ground cornmeal. So you get a little texture, but it's not all texture.
Right.
And so if you look at black southern fried fish, it's almost all just medium ground cornmeal.
Any spice rub on this?
Yeah, it's going to have our Rub with Love fish taco spice. So it's like a fish taco torta.
Nice. You
Just
put the whole
saying.
menu into one place. I like that.
Yeah, just saying. So we're going to find out how it goes because
Comes with a taco on the
we're
side.
having our first tasting.
Do they have a
No,
location?
they wanted it on bread, not on tortillas. And so,
Oh.
Mexican tortas are very popular. So
Yeah.
Where are they going?
they're going over here where the old Starbucks place
Princey?
was on the Princey space on
Pretty
Westlake
spot.
Avenue.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
I believe they're also going to Rainier Square eventually.
Mm.
But I don't know if that's a signed deal or not. Anyway, looking forward to having some new energy here in downtown Seattle. All right, let's take a break and come back and talk asparagus. It's that time. So exciting. Did you know asparagus can grow up to 10 inches a day?
I can't wait to just sit in the field and watch it.
I know. On Cairo Radio, it's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM.
10 inches a day. You could sit in front of it and watch it grow. That's for sure.
What?
It is hilarious.
I mean, we got to
And
drive.
she would do it too. Yeah.
Maybe with some gummies.
Yeah. What kind of gummies, Pam? Like cherry?
Cherry.
Oh, okay.
Cherry gummies.
Is that your favorite?
No, her favorite are laced with something else.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, those are good too.
I would know. I've never actually tried one.
What do you want? Well, we'll take this off air. Although it is legal in Washington.
I know. There's nothing off air about it. Okay, we're back. It's the Hot Stove Society Show. And as you know, if you listen to us often enough, Pam Hinckley came up with a zinger right before we broke on the last segment, which she's going to sit in a field in eastern Washington and watch the asparagus grow. But what did you say you have to go with it? A gummy of some sort.
Tea.
Tea.
Maybe an herbal tea.
An herbal
Asparagus tea.
an herbal gummy of sorts. And I hadn't thought about that, but that could take you right back to your days, your days.
When I was we picked Jackie up in Hartford when she came to Connecticut last week, and I showed her the site of the hippie restaurant I used to cook at.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was pretty epic because it's right across from the train station in downtown Hartford.
Is that why we have a segment on tofu today?
Yeah.
Because you got re-inspired.
Re-inspired.
Interesting. So asparagus, chef.
Yes.
When I drive over to our farm in Prosser, east of Yakima, you see the folks bent over at the waist with their asparagus knife, kind of digging about an inch or so underneath the soil, which is why you often see asparagus with like a white end on the bottom.
Right.
That tough end, because they're digging right down into the dirt to pick that up. It is backbreaking work.
Yes.
And it is
I wouldn't want to be doing that all day.
When you're eating asparagus, you should really appreciate what the folks have done to get that to
They
you.
also kind of sting when they have like those. That foliage is a little bit not very friendly either. So
I didn't know that.
yeah.
But there's not much foliage this time of year. If you
Right.
drive by our asparagus field, you really just see
Sticks.
spears coming out of the ground.
Which is what you want. Yeah.
The other thing I say, I like the big fat asparagus, and you can buy it by the size. If you look, probably at the grocery store, they're going to not really set it up that way. But
Right.
when I can see the big fat ones that are going to take a char on the grill without wilting,
Right.
when you do the little pencil asparagus on the grill, by the time you get a char, it's overcooked.
Right.
So
right.
the big ones can take a char and still not be overcooked in the center.
Which is how I like my asparagus grilled.
Grilled, but still with al dente, right?
Yeah. And a nice little lemon zest, and just a lemon olive oil mustard dressing. Very simple. I love that. So delicious.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great garnish or starter, you can use it just about anywhere in your meal.
Right.
And then you can chop it and put it into a salad if you have some roasted chicken, just put that and or piece of fish, piece of salmon, put that crumbled together and have a wonderful asparagus and salmon salad.
The other night I was cooking for a friend's 70th birthday. I can't believe my friends are turning 70. It's just ridiculous.
Those are your new friends.
Yeah, I'm gonna
The other one are
I'm gonna
older.
need new friends if they keep getting this old. Anyway, it's in my life. It's true. I have a lot of friends turning in the big 7-0. Not even going to look at who else might be getting close. But I did I was cooking over at the Serious Pie, the old one, the original Serious Pie, and so all I had to cook with was the wood oven, and I had to do dinner for 25 people. So I put the big fat asparagus. I peeled the ends, which saves you about 25% of the asparagus. If asparagus is $5 a pound, if you cut off those bottom 2 inches, like people tell you, there goes $2 right there, right? Or $1. And then if you break it, like oftentimes the old wives' tale is like, break it, it'll break where it's tender. It's like nonsense. Don't do that. Just peel it first, take a little bite off the end, see if it's too tough.
Right.
And just because it's white doesn't make it not taste like asparagus.
Right.
Remember, white asparagus is 4 times the price of regular asparagus. So
that's what we grew up. That's what I grew up with. That's what we used to grow in our backyard.
Right.
We had mounds of dirt, and we had the asparagus growing on.
Right, and you mound the dirt up, right?
Yeah. You keep the dirt up so the asparagus stays white.
Right. So so you pay extra for that. So when we see it, in America, I think we tend to want to cut that off. We think it's going to be tough.
Right.
And it's just not the case. So peel that first. Peel the bottom, say 2 or 3 inches of your spear, and especially if they're the big ones. And then I just put them on a sheet pan with extra virgin lemon olive oil and roasted them in the oven, in the wood oven, on a half sheet pan.
Nice.
And so you can do the same in your charcoal grill. And the difference is you don't get the super caramelization. You still pick up a little bit of smoke because of the olive oil will pick up the smoke flavor, but it's not nearly as smoky as, say, grilling right over the fire.
Right. It's a different
Because some people don't like that. Like my
Right.
wife doesn't love that heavy smoke.
Right. No, I think char is actually a little bit different of a flavor. Smoke is a little bit different, I think, of a flavor,
Definitely.
especially on the asparagus. I would think that I like the grill flavor. I like the char on some places and not others.
Right.
I like that part where you test both while you're eating. I think that's good.
Yeah,
too.
because you don't want to overwhelm with the asparagus. Do you have a favorite way, Miss Hinckley?
Well, no, I'm still reflecting on your treatment of the stalk.
Mhm.
And you said taste it for toughness, but I also think that there's a place where the flavor is good.
Yeah, that's where we disagree.
And you
the grade of flavor is all the way to the bottom. And logically, you would think then the asparagus would taste even stronger on
I
the
think
bottom
visually
because it goes up.
She's correct because visually our mind says if it's green, it's going to taste better than that white part.
Mhm.
But like we were just saying, white asparagus that is mounded up with dirt is more valued, is more prized financially.
It's more tender as you go up, but it is. I would think it's more concentrated on flavor as you're down because it
That's
comes.
what I'm wondering. That's what I'm asking. Like, where does it at that bottom of it not taste good anymore?
It's all the same plant. It pretty much has to taste the same.
Yeah, I think maybe the first, inch maybe, but and it's mostly because it's in dirt. But otherwise, flavor wise, I dare you. I mean, I would do a blind testing for sure. And I dare you.
Texture-wise, it definitely gets more chalky.
Well, it gets tougher a little bit because it's the bottom.
What is your favorite way to have asparagus?
Grilled.
Right.
Well, and last week we bought New Jersey asparagus, and it
Oh, that's right. You were on the East Coast.
yeah, and it was spectacular
Mhm.
grilled. But the recipe that caught my attention for this segment was grilled, but then in a nod to Terry, harissa hollandaise, so good to
I think that would be delicious.
the harissa hollandaise, and then a really soft egg.
Yeah,
It has all
yeah.
your perfect things.
We used to serve that at Lule for brunch. We used to serve that hollandaise and harissa hollandaise and asparagus when they were in season with an egg. That was with a poached egg.
That's got all the texture.
French texture all the way, and a
Mhm.
nice muffin on the bottom. Yeah, that's really delicious.
So an asparagus Benedict is what you're
Yeah,
saying. you
exactly.
did. Yeah.
But I do love cold asparagus soup.
I love asparagus soup, not
You do?
necessarily cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I love it.
With it, do you do a chicken stock?
I do.
Yeah, I think it needs a chicken stock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very delicious. And again, that's one great way to use all those bottom part of the asparagus. If you want to have nothing but tender tops for your guest or for your salad or for your side dish, you can use the bottom part and chop it and cook it very, you just blanch it very quickly and you can make a fabulous soup with that.
Exactly.
And quiche. I love it in
Sixty
quiche.
percent. Your research says that 60% of the cost of asparagus is related to the labor of
Yes.
growing it, which is probably not a big surprise. It grows on those crowns. Once you have those crowns in the field for 10 or so years, that field is done for life for asparagus. You have to go to a different field because of the different organisms that live in those crowns that infects the soil forever.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you can't plant a new field.
I'm
of
surprised it's
asparagus
10
there.
years. That's a long time. 10
10 or
years.
12 years, yeah, actually. And then you
Of the
just got to
same
move
crop.
on, plant rhubarb there or something. I don't know what it is. But yeah, about 10 inches in a day in peak season when the heat comes on, which is happening over there in the east side right now. We had a 90-degree day this last week, which was amazing. All right, we have 2 segments devoted to Jeanine Sherry, our inspirational dietitian colleague who we got to know through her help on nutrition labeling. I think that's an interesting thing I'd like to touch on too when she comes on for the home entrepreneur who's thinking about building a product. You have to do nutritionals on it. So that's something that you can call Jeanine for. On Cairo Radio, it's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM.
All right, my darling. I will get you some.
Hello.
Have props.
Uh-oh.
How did Annie do on the muffins? Yeah. Oh, you can't have that either? Yeah.
Oh, I love when you bring props. So good. And you've got the perfect back.
I know. I don't have the perfect shoulders for it anymore.
Yeah.
It's killing me.
You take a picture of that and put it on the side.
Good day.
Okay.
How much more stuff is going to come out of that bag?
She's like the magic trick on TV, the guy who keeps pulling everything out of his hat.
Yeah, it's my clown bag.
Whoa, this is so cool.
Isn't that awesome?
What is that?
I love that.
Avocado oil spray.
Wow. It's a damn good muffin.
Annie, they said nice things about you. First time for everything.
I think that's good, right?
Yeah.
Like that. Okay.
Great.
Good.
Are these all things you've done nutritionals on?
No, these are all things I keep in my pantry
Oh, okay.
that are quick and easy.
Really? That girl knows how to cook, doesn't she? I know you wouldn't.
I have a question. What's in those cans?
I'm sorry?
What's in the cans?
Tuna and salmon.
No, the other one, the
Oh.
other two.
Garbanzo.
Okay.
Tomato.
Okay.
I am
S&W, good brand? S&W, good brand?
Yes. They're organic. It's really good. Very good. Good price. Good flavor.
Boom.
Jeanine, you don't have do you have a blog or a book or something that we're promoting
No.
along with this?
No.
I know I wanted to promote her
No.
services, but she's too busy. So-
Already? You're already too busy?
I'm good where I am. Yeah.
Okay.
And
That's good.
yeah, that's a good thing.
And it's so nice to hear. Like that.
Yes.
Where have you been?
We do a lot of cross country traveling. We have a sprinter van.
That's what I
and-
do too, but it's hard to see from 30,000 feet.
No, we do a lot of, we've been across country probably 5 or 6 times,
Mhm.
just driving. And we have not done the northern route yet. And we're getting ready to do that starting on Tuesday. My family's from Philly. So
Uh-huh.
we're going to spend a week there and then head north all through New England, Bar Harbor, Maine.
Oh,
Good
so
lobster.
beautiful.
I know, it's so pretty up there. Canada. And then we're going to come back Niagara Falls. What's the town in Michigan that's so
Do
famous?
you ever stay in a motel or do you
Sheboygan?
always stay in the RV?
We take probably about once a week. We stay in a hotel just for a break.
Yeah.
But it's actually the RV's so nice. It's
Ann Arbor.
kind of a pain to take all your stuff out of the RV into
Yeah.
a hotel and
Right.
then back. It's like,
Ann Arbor, Michigan.
and no, what's the island? Mackinac Island.
Oh.
I am.
Oh, we wanted to see that, so we're gonna stop there.
You know, if you go to Motel 6, you bring in some quarters. They have magic finger beds.
Nice.
Just saying.
Good to know.
I lived on those across country.
Oh, after all that driving.
When I was doing that, it was dimes. It wasn't quarters.
Times. Oh, yeah.
I
it's
don't
gone
know.
up now.
That was a few years ago. I don't know if they still have those beds. Tom.
1977.
Yes.
Got rid of those.
I'm sure Motel 6 has exactly the same beds.
Probably.
You think so?
Sheets too.
No way. I wouldn't last that long.
Mm.
I went to the Motel 6 when it was $3 a night. It wasn't even $6.
You're not that old.
Yeah, I am. Sadly. Not as old as my sister, though, my oldest sister. Here we are back in the kitchen on Cairo. Chef, what do you have in front of you there?
I have a beautiful breakfast. My favorite. Nice little torta.
Tortilla.
Tortilla, pardon me.
I'm sorry I
and
asked.
sauteed Swiss chard and a beautiful little sausages. I mean, they're like so cute.
A little,
Look like could be like a little
Cocktail
dog
size.
poop or something.
they're like
I know.
little Vienna weenies, but they're chorizo.
Yes, but
Yeah.
they're tiny. They're beautiful and delicious too.
And I think a blueberry muffin. That, my friends, is what you get when you come in and buy a ticket here for breakfast with a hot cup.
Pretty
of coffee.
swanky.
Pretty swanky stuff. All right, Jeanine Sherry is president of the New Wellness Topics, and today we're going to talk about a well-stocked pantry, and we're going to contrast a little bit between you, the dietitian,
Mhm.
and us, the chefy types.
Right.
And so we're obviously,
Be careful.
yeah, I know.
We obviously don't know anything except our belly.
Our
You-
listeners don't know you, Jeanine. They don't know that you did all the nutritional work for our products, whether it
Yes.
was our sauces or our rubs or whatever. And you have to have, in our world, we have to have scientifically exactly the amount of ingredients of this and that labeled in order on our label.
Mhm.
And also there's the recommended, I don't know that we have to have the RDA.
You have daily values on there. Everybody does.
Do we?
Mhm.
Yeah, everyone
Yeah.
does. So how did you get into that world? And before we get started on what's in your pantry.
I started, I was a consultant in Richmond, Virginia for a long time and worked with a grocery store. And I was their consulting dietitian. I would do seminars for their customers and I would write columns for their newsletters, things like that, and lead grocery store tours. This was back in the 80s
Uh-huh.
and show people
Did
how
you
to
say
read labels.
tours
Tours, yes.
of the grocery store?
We would do 2-hour grocery store tours. I would take
That
a
was
group
my
through-
ideal job. I wanted to be a concierge at a grocery store.
Yes, and it's big now. We were one of the first to do it. Actually, Safeway started. We were probably one of the second companies to do it.
My
And
guess is you
now
might
pretty
need
much-
a degree too. Pamela.
It helps.
Yeah.
It does help. And then I was working with this grocery store who did a lot of prepared foods. They had a central commissary. And it was when NLEA, the Nutritional Labeling Act, came into play in 1990. And we realized because we were a manufacturing facility, we were going to have to do nutrition labeling. And so we were at a big conference table and everybody looked around and says, well, I guess you're going to do it.
You're the
And I
one.
said, okay. So I learned the regulations, got some training,
Uh-huh.
and have been doing it for 30 years.
Wow, congratulations.
And it's a very
And to be I just want to say one thing before this, I forget. To be clear, Pamela does have a degree. It's just not in nutrition.
Anything relevant.
Okay.
In sewing, I think.
Yeah.
I was gonna say your job is very needed today because everyone
is.
needs this, including many restaurants and so on and so
Yes,
forth.
now
So
it's expanded into restaurants. So I do
Right.
menu labeling for restaurants. If
Right.
you have more than 20 locations, you have to have calories posted on your menu board. It's
Right.
gotten complicated to be in the food industry these days.
Bet.
Very much.
And just in like the sugar tax here in Washington State
Oh.
is another scenario where
yeah,
you have to be concerned with. So.
Right. Right.
All right, so let's talk about your pantry and
Okay.
maybe the dietitian's pantry compared to the chef's
Chef's pantry.
pantry.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to hearing what you all have in your pantries compared to
Rub with love.
what I've. It's in both. It's in both
Dijon,
for sure.
Dijon mustard,
Dijon mustard. That is
number
on my
one
list.
item, and harissa is number 2.
Okay, see, I would like to
Olives
learn.
is number 3.
Olives. I agree.
You keep
And-
onions in your pantry, not in your.
Well, in my fridge.
I guess your dry pantry. Yeah.
But I'm stretching pantry to include fridge and freezer.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So
All right.
basically
All right.
stocking your kitchen.
All right. So
And
what
then-
did you when you kept pulling stuff out of your bag? It looked like you were Mary Poppins. You know
I
how
know,
she
it's
could,
like a
she
clown
could just
car.
keep pulling things out of her
I do.
bag.
So I brought some key items that I love. And I will mention that I do primarily most of my shopping at Costco, Trader Joe's, and then I fill in with other places. Costco's done a really nice job with organics and offering a healthier selection of items at a good price point where the average person can afford them instead of,
Do
some
they
of
have
the
fresh
smaller-
veggies and everything?
Do they have what?
Fresh vegetable and everything?
Yeah, they have a
Oh, cool.
ton of produce. Yes, a lot of produce,
I
and
need to
a
go
ton
to
of it's
Costco.
organic.
Yes, you do. That's funny.
You should. So anyhow, when I start my pantry, I usually start with nuts and oils. So I consider them by food groups, so fats.
Mhm.
So with nuts and oils, I focus on olive oil predominantly. And then when I don't want to use olive oil, I use avocado cooking oil spray. And this is a really nice one, again, at Costco. No propellants or anything in it. It's just 100% avocado oil. And it's
And when you choose to use that, why are you choosing that over olive oil? They're both vegetable oils, right?
right. Mainly, I really like the spray
So-
because it
but
goes
it's not
on
a
so
flavor.
evenly. It does have a little bit of flavor to it, but it just gives a nice even coating, so I
Yeah.
don't have to swirl the olive oil.
And you
around the
cook
pan.
with it?
I cook with it.
So
yes,
it's got a higher
yes, very
burning
high
point?
smoke point. Mhm.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things to do with it is when I make oven fries, either out of russet potatoes or sweet potatoes. I cut them into thick wedges, leave the skin on, and I spray this on top.
Uh-huh.
And then my new favorite thing on sweet potato fries is the smoky
Yay.
barbecue rub. It is unbelievable on
Oh,
sweet
that's
potato
a good
fries.
contrast
Yeah.
to
So
sweet
good.
potato.
Yeah, so that was a big hit last week when I did that. So those are my primary oils. And then as far as other fats, I do a lot of nuts. I do mainly walnuts, pecans, and almonds are the top ones that I do for their saturated and their fat profile. They're
Uh-huh.
low in saturated fats, have a lot of the healthy omega-3 fats in there, which is none of us really get a lot of those
Right.
fats. We have to really work on getting more nuts and seafood into
That's
our
why I eat
diet.
salmon a lot.
Yeah, salmon's probably the best source.
So how
And-
do you incorporate nuts in your diet without just eating a handful of cashews, say, or whatever?
right?
Yeah.
Which because that can get dangerous from a calorie standpoint because I mean they're so good, and like a little handful, about an ounce, is somewhere around 150 calories. So that can add up pretty
Like a
quickly.
glass of wine. I'd rather have a glass of wine.
Exactly, exactly. You have to choose where to spend your calories. Exactly right.
You want a pile of nuts or you want a glass of wine? I'll take both.
They're so good together.
Well, nuts with wine is delicious. So that's a hard one. I mainly put them in salads.
Okay.
And then some stir fries, I'll add nuts too, but predominantly salads. I'll just sprinkle a handful on top.
Or
Or
yogurt
oatmeal.
in the morning is delicious. Sliced almond toasted.
Mhm. And I do almond butter.
Yeah.
And also natural peanut butter on occasion, but mainly almond butter. And again, Costco has this mixed nut and seed butter now that is
Mm.
flax seeds, chia seeds, predominantly almonds, and a few other good things in it. It's very nice
And
flavor.
it's ground, so your
Yeah.
body can digest it, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Right.
Do you have
it's a
real
flax-
butter in your fridge?
Do I have?
Butter?
But
Regular.
I do. I
Okay.
love butter. I do.
Oh,
and
I'm
I-
just asking.
Yeah, I use it in moderation. I try and if I'm making a choice, I try and go to olive oil first and then butter secondary. Some things just
I'm
we
with
need
you.
the butter. Yeah.
100%.
Good. All right, that's good. And then this is probably where we're going to differ. I have predominantly whole grains in my pantry. So instead of regular pasta, I typically do a whole grain pasta. And my favorite at the time is this brown rice and quinoa pasta from Trader Joe's, and it comes in spirals, vermicelli, different shapes. So, and it's really good. It doesn't have the kind of heavy bite of whole wheat pasta. So this is a nice alternative, and it is a little higher in protein because it's got the quinoa in it. Another good whole grain that is a good way to cheat and be really quick are these Seeds of Change brown rice and red rice blend. They also have quinoa rice blends, a lot of different blends that are moderate in sodium. But all you do is nuke this for 90 seconds, and you've got a good pilaf there.
And so the brand is called Seeds
of Change. Yes. And again, Costco carries it in a big, box. So you get like, I think it's 10 of these or 8 of these in a box. Again, really nice to put a piece of grilled salmon on top of. Because when you're in a hurry, you have kids, you're going to sports practice and whatnot. It's not hard. It takes planning. It's just easier to have something that's quick and easy. Open this, nuke it, and rather than stopping it, a fast food
this is
place.
quick and easy, but this is good for you.
Yes,
as opposed
it is.
to quick
It's
and
good.
easy and
Right.
not good for you.
Right, exactly. I mean, this is organic, so it's doesn't have the pesticide residue and all that kind of stuff in it. Rice, I do basmati brown rice, which is great. And then this is another new one. I do the brown rice ramen noodles. And one of my favorites is to sear chicken thighs and I use the ginger teriyaki sauce, and to glaze it. And then I serve it over this with a ton of vegetables added in.
Right.
And I use the whatever is left in the pan with barbecue sauce, add a little bit more, and then I usually add some chicken stock in it and pour it as a sauce over this, and it's absolutely delicious.
You're a good cook too.
I'm a good home cook. I'm
You
not
understand
I'm
the
not a
meaning
chef.
of deglazing and all that. So
Yes.
many people don't understand that, which is so good, so
Yeah.
sad because it's where a
Right,
lot of
and
flavor can be attributed to your water.
well, that's what I learned. I did do a week-long cooking class at CIA in Napa Valley, Greystone, and one of the most important things I learned is the flavor in the bottom of the pan.
Yeah.
Like I did not know that.
And are you gluten free? Is that why you're doing all this rice or is that just a preference?
I am gluten sensitive.
Uh-huh.
I have a dermatitis herpetiformis, which is not celiac disease, but it's a form of that. So I love bread. It's probably my favorite food in the world. And so if I could sit down with bread, butter, and a glass of wine, I'd be so happy. But
You and Chef over here.
I could,
Yeah.
yes. But
That would
so
definitely
try and
be
cut back on that.
the last day of my life if I knew it was coming. I'd be like, give me a loaf of bread, a big, nice pound of butter from Ireland, maybe, and a nice glass of wine.
that was, we could go together.
Let me go that way.
All right. So that was quite a bit from your pantry. Can't even say it. Pantry.
Yeah.
We might do a little bit more of that when we come back, but we're also going to dive into how should we eat as we age?
Yes.
How should your diet start to change as we age? On Cairo Radio, it's the Hot Stove Society show on 97.3 FM.
Yeah, because
Wow.
the concern is not of the youngs because they eat everything.
I know and you can get away with it for a long time.
Exactly.
Yeah. But,
You get away with it until about 35 years old, and then
I don't know that we've determined that you're actually getting away with it.
you're not getting away. What I mean is it's not
it doesn't
showing
show yet.
as much,
Well,
but it shows.
They're doing studies on younger and younger people because they can image your arteries and stuff. And I think a lot of the stuff that we're eating as kids
Oh,
starting to build in that. They're showing that it's starting to build earlier than they thought.
yes, absolutely. It's
So all this mac and cheese and all these kind of
Yeah, this is also
process-
the fact that young people don't go to the doctor to get checked out.
Well,
Because-
they're not exercising that much anymore either.
Right.
Which is, they're doing all the electronic stuff.
not like me yesterday.
Thank you,
What'd you do?
I
Carol.
worked out
You
Good.
rock.
and then I went golfed yesterday afternoon.
Nice day.
And I'm heading to Scotland in a couple of weeks where there's no carts. And
You walk,
so I walked and carried my bag yesterday just to start to build.
right?
No
Endurance.
problem.
Good.
No
That's
problem.
awesome.
Problem.
No.
Problem.
No wheels, no nothing.
Oh, that's
No.
impressive.
And I know many people poo-poo that kind of the old golfers, whatever. If you've ever tried to walk 19 holes and
Schlep the bag.
carry your bag, try it and tell me it's
Up
not
and
hard.
down the hills.
I've
Yeah.
done it a few times. It's not easy. I mean, many people could not do it.
I totally get it. That's why I
I
was
mean,
growing.
it's a
Yeah.
good exercise to do.
And our eagle's nest has been rebuilt by the eagles. We had a 25-year nest up on the snag on it's between holes 17 and 11 at Broadmoor. And this winter it got blown out for the first
Oh.
time And today, I hadn't been there in a few months. Today, it's all rebuilt, 5 feet wide,
Wow.
6 feet deep.
They're so industrious.
There's some friskiness in the
Semi-logs up
Eagles
there.
right now.
Yeah.
They've been very active. in our
Yesterday,
neighborhood.
as we were walking down the 17th, the eagle comes flying by with a cormorant in its talon.
No,
Right up into the nest.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
Not on that nest, no. But there is several online. Yeah. And the eggs didn't hatch. They had to boot the eggs out of the nest. That's the one we have online down at us.
So did they rebuild? Did the eagle rebuild the nest, or
Yeah.
did they rebuild?
Oh, no. Yeah, the eagle has to do it.
Wow.
yeah, they have to do it themselves.
That's cool. So it was at home. Cool.
All right, let's wrap this up, huh, Jeanine?
okay.
So you have about 10 minutes to get whatever else you want to say out there. So,
Okay. On both topics.
yes.
Okay.
Good start.
Yeah.
And I mean, you combine good pantry stuff with fast dinners like that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of the goal. If you have a well-stocked pantry or well-stocked kitchen, I should say, dinner can be really, really quick. And I kind of think of
Stop. We're going to say this on the radio.
Save it for the radio. Is
I thought that
Pam,
was-
you asked that very same question. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're back with Jeanine Sherry here, president of New Wellness Topics. Today we're talking about a well-stocked pantry. And Pam, what interested you in that? Because when I've been to your house, your pantry is stocked.
It's stocked. But Jeanine had much more organizational tips for getting dinner together quickly from that well-stocked pantry.
yes,
I think a mind to what you're going to build it to and how you're going to use it.
You know why I think
Exactly.
that is? Because she lives half her life she travels in an RV.
Right. That's true.
you know
I'm
how
used
to-
to small spaces
Yeah.
and you have to make things count.
Yeah.
But a couple other things that I think are really worth mentioning are one of the things I always keep in my freezer are frozen shrimp. And this brand is rated one of the best ever. It's Trader Joe's raw Argentinian red shrimp. It is wild caught. And it has no additives in it. It's just shrimp and then a little bit of salt. Most shrimp has sodium
Sure.
tripolyphosphate in it to keep it white and keep it moist. And that's why when you thaw it out, it leaves like a wet
A
ring.
big milky ring.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
it's gross.
Yeah,
It
just
is
like they
gross.
do with scallops.
Yes, shrimp and scallops both have
And
that.
even the picked crab meat that you can buy, the little 1 pound cans,
Yeah,
has a lot
yeah.
of that in it.
Yeah, I think
Extra
most
extra weight.
processed
Those
seafood-
things are sold by the pound.
Right. So it does help hold onto water, therefore more heavier weight. But this is absolutely delicious. And it's like $10 a pound, which is unbelievable.
Wow.
So that's a good
And they're all
time.
peeled and ready to go, right?
Peeled, ready to go.
Yeah.
They're not cooked, but which is great.
I used to
but
say you
they're-
should always have a pound of shrimp in the freezer if you're single and
yeah,
you're gonna have a date. It's always a good thing to
absolutely
have.
throw together a great meal with some
Have some pasta in the
and
cupboard
shrimp.
and have some shrimp in the freezer
Yes,
and a bottle of
exactly.
wine in the.
That's-
I like how you used to say that, Chef, and your wife is sitting right across from you.
I use the word use
Oh.
too.
That's a good
That's-
sign, I guess.
No shrimp in the row house.
Yeah, there is no shrimp in my freezer.
There's no dates coming up. Another good one just for the freezer is Trader Joe's. It's fire roasted bell peppers and onions. It's red, yellow, and green bell peppers with onions. So again, quick weekday meal prep. You don't have to do all the cutting and all
Right,
this.
right.
So and there's nothing else in it. It's just fresh vegetables that are frozen. And I think a misnomer about vegetables that you don't always have to get them fresh. Frozen, typically they are frozen at the field right after picking. So you're retaining most of the nutrient value. Whereas sometimes fresh,
Right.
it sits in the grocery store for a while and then it sits in your crisper for a while. So it can lose a lot of nutrients. So frozen is a great convenience, no waste. And
Yeah, you just have to look on the package of what's been done to it. If there's
exactly, just
anything
check the
added, or
ingredients, right? And
you know,
you'll
some people just find something amazing about adding all kind of crap to their vegetable.
I know it's
So
unfortunate.
let's talk about that when it comes to as we age. You know, Chef Terry and I are not getting any younger. We've been doing this show for
Ditto.
over 20 years.
Wow.
Just saying. And so we're
We just
starting.
started though.
Yeah, we're starting to feel our age a bit. And sometimes I think the next day I'm feeling what I ate yesterday. It's like I either feel better or worse today because of what I had for dinner last night.
Right.
So as we age, is that true? What I'm feeling, is that true? And is there a way to kind of always feel good when you wake up in the morning, other than obviously just eating fresh vegetables?
Well, I think we do get more sensitive to alcohol as we get older, for sure. So like me personally, I feel the effects of alcohol the day after much more than I used to. So limiting alcohol is a big thing. And just in terms of aging, your metabolism does slow down. That's for sure, but it's not as much as we used to think it was. In fact, there was a study done recently of like over 6,000 people, ages 0 to 95, and they looked at their metabolism. They accounted for muscle mass, so they removed that barrier or that variable. And what they found was that in your 20s, 30s, 40s, and even 50s, your metabolism stays relatively stable. It's only after 60 that it really starts to plummet.
Mhm.
All right. That's what I thought.
I can attest to that. But what's interesting is it's even that is only like 0.7% a day, which is maybe 10 calories.
So you
something
can't
like
use
that.
it as an excuse.
No. But what they're thinking is that even though, so you're getting a slowdown in metabolism, you're losing a little bit of muscle mass, which is key because that's the metabolically active substance in your body. You want as much muscle mass as you can get. So weight training is extremely important for older people, especially women, I want to say, to build up that muscle so you can increase your metabolic rate and burn more calories every day. But you also want to make sure that every calorie you eat matters. Like you don't really have as much room anymore for empty calories. You can't, like we were talking earlier, you can't really get away with as much as you used to in terms of eating. It seems like everything catches up to you. Like you were saying, some people just don't metabolize things as well. Everything kind of slows down. And what they're thinking, another reason that may impact weight gain as you get older is that the non-muscle tissue also slows down. Like they're thinking every cell in your body basically slows down.
Yeah.
So
Right.
everything's aging. So there's just a lot more than just muscle mass.
And
that
so
plays
does
into
our
it.
rhythm too. I mean, our rhythm slows down as you get older. You
Right.
know, you don't run as fast and as crazy as you did
Right.
when you
And-
were 35.
Right.
You know, it's a
You're-
different scene.
Speak for yourself, chef.
Yeah, well, I am. I was actually talking about me.
So how would you eat? How would you just add more protein to your diet? How would
do.
you eat if you were as you age?
Mediterranean diet is good
Mediterranean
for
diet,
like
okay.
birth through the end. It's the key where you focus on lots and lots of vegetables, especially leafy greens, kale, collards, spinach, broccoli, cauliflower, all that stuff is great. And I would look at my plate and divide it in half. Half of it should be produce. So half your dinner plate should be some sort of vegetable medley mix, whatever. Then the other half I would divide into whole grains and protein.
Okay.
So I would kind of visually do it that way and really take a look at your portion sizes. In
Yeah,
fact,
I was gonna say the portion
Yes.
size is where it's
it's
really at.
key.
We're so used to eat bigger plate than we should.
So buy smaller plates.
Buy smaller plate.
Buy smaller
Honestly,
plate.
that
Yeah,
does- it helps.
use your salad plate for entree plate for a while.
It's true. I mean, if they've done studies where if you give someone a box of cookies, they're going to eat a whole lot more than if you put them in a little dish.
Mhm.
So it's just
If you
portion control.
individually wrap them really tight. Takes
That's
forever
true.
to open.
That's true. The other thing is watching what you're drinking. Like I don't try and consume any calories by fluid,
Right.
just because it doesn't fill me up.
Mhm.
So I stick to water, flavored seltzers. I avoid the artificial sweeteners at all cost. And even fruit juices. I mean, fruit juice has a ton of calories in it.
Mhm.
So if you want fruit, eat the whole fruit because you get the fiber and more of the nutrients than just the juice. Also, make sure that you're watching, like we said, portion sizes. And it's not a bad idea if you have the time and the inclination, count your calories for a week. Like really
Oh my
measure
God, I
things
would kill
out.
myself.
Well, I know it's startling.
I know.
Yeah,
This is when you're going down a road like, okay, I'm never coming back from
Yeah.
this.
It's really interesting. My husband said he wanted to lose like 10 pounds. So he counted his calories for a week. I mean, he was diligent. He got the measuring cup out for his Raisin Bran. And I'm like, I wouldn't even do that. But he did it. And he kept coming up to me going, do you know how many calories are in this much peanut butter? I'm like, really? Do
Yeah.
tell.
My favorite is one date,
One date.
60 calorie.
I mean, there's stuff that's really, it's nutrient packed, but also calorie packed. So really doing that for a week can be very enlightening. And let you know where your calories are coming from. And if you want to lose weight, trying to create a 500 calorie a day deficit is kind of a hallmark to try and lose about a pound a week. So if you can either 500 calories a day times 7 days a week is 3,500. And there's about 3,500 calories in
That's
a
what I've
pound
been
of body
doing
fat.
for the last 5 weeks.
Have
And
you?
I
How's it
lost
working,
1 pound
Chef?
a week for the last 5
Did
weeks.
you?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, you look
That's
quite
fantastic.
svelte today.
It's all in the size and or the size of the the amount of food, and also watching not to eat. You're ready to eat that bread, and you're like, nope, nope, nope.
Right.
it's not
Just
the
watching
date.
the second portions or the
Use
extras.
the bread as a treat. It's like, oh my God.
Exactly, as a treat, and watching your added fats.
Things I used to laugh at, and now I have to go through it.
It stinks.
Crazy.
But it's
Jean, is there any place where people can follow you?
The supermarket.
I don't mean creepy wise.
I was gonna say Trader
Well, because
Joe's.
you have a lot of good information, you should start a blog or something.
Well, I'm so busy with the labeling work,
Uh-huh.
and I'm kind of heading towards the sunset years where I don't necessarily want to be working 80 hours a week like I used to. But it's a thought.
Is
All
right.
nutrition labeling, has it made a difference in the way Americans approach
It definitely
their
does.
food?
Yes. And
Because
as has menu labeling.
Okay.
Menu labeling on restaurants has definitely impacted not only what consumer buys, but what the company is making. Like
Ah,
if you have
yes.
to post that your sandwich has 900 calories, you're like, wow.
900
do?
calorie in a toast.
Oh, I have a lot of clients. who have
And yet
900
we're fatter
calorie
than ever
sandwich.
as a country. So
Oh yeah. What did I hear? 75% of the country is now overweight.
yeah, and
It's-
I'm that much for 3 people. So
Oh, that's why it's 75%.
all right, thank you, Jeanine Sherry, for all that, all about your pantry and about how to eat as we age. Coming up, we have another full hour, including a question from my wife Jackie. So we're going to get into that. Wait a second. Let's do that
No,
again.
no,
That was-
Jackie was, how do
Jackie
we
was
eat?
that, yeah.
Yeah.
We have another full hour to go, including Mother Knows Best, some stories about life lessons learned from my mothers in honor of Mother's Day weekend.
And
Wonderful.
we're going to do some crispy tofu.
I think.
Okay.
On Cairo Radio, it's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM. Sean DeTore, you have a little fixing to do there for me, please. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
nice
Thank you.
job. That's.
I hate when our guests come prepared.
I know.
Wow. That was super cool.
Thank you. I didn't get to everything. But
I always poop. My wife always goes to Trader Joe's, and I always go, nah. Well, I stopped going there the day that I was at the cash register asking for. That was 3 years ago, and said, "Hey, where are the berries and the local
Let me see
berries
what
and
that
everything?" And
Is that what you were talking about? Oh, yeah. Pam says she has some.
She's an avocado.
but not for breakfast, really. That's a great snack.
yeah, you're lying. You're making that up. Okay, that's more like it. Because you only have the brunch, because she only has brunch twice a year. She hates brunch.
Oh, yeah, let's just watch her eat something. Andy, you want to set up Pam with some?
Oh.
Lion. Yeah. I'm surprised you're not falling asleep right now because you're lying. YouTubers, just want to share my breakfast with you.
Wish you were here.
Toss some in.
You haven't tried them yet? They're super good.
And
You seriously have not
did
tried
you
them
used
yet?
to practice?
No, I just got.
Well,
Enough of that nonsense.
Thank you so much.
thank you. That's great.
You out of
Awesome.
here? Are you
No,
gonna
I'm
sit?
staying.
You're gonna sit and watch? I love your Philly accent. That reminds me of home there.
Well, the salt rinsed is on the left.
That's a very interesting way to do tofu. I would never even imagine to do that. That's cool.
Exactly.
So I seasoned with the spice rubs. We've done those.
Oh,
on
so
demos.
good.
So really good.
So
Easy,
good.
quick way to get the spices out there. I wrote down about a hair fryer, and I did hair fryer too. So great.
You didn't.
I'm in an apartment, and if I do things really hot, fire alarm goes on.
Yeah.
So, but it was pretty good.
Have you decided to sell your house yet?
Nope, we're moving in about 5 weeks.
Are you?
Where did you move to?
We, so our house had a house fire, and just a smoke black damage, and we got us set, and we've been in an apartment the last 18 months. And we're moving in.
Wow. 18 months it took.
But it's,
She checked me last night. She sent me a picture and I really thought it was waffle. I said, having waffle for
But
dinner?
it took 18 months to get back to your house? Wow.
about 4 of those, which is just
Wow. That's a long time. I'm smelling that burnt soy sauce.
Did
Did you say burning soy sauce?
It's
Yeah.
fine.
Pretty nice to have you here, Carol.
Yeah. By the way, when you write the trivia question, pretty cool.
I got one in the can, but I made
Yeah.
it better.
She had one for today, but then Becky did the themed one, so yours is.
That's okay.
Oh, good, good, good.
And we're back. It's the Hot Stove Society Showtime. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully you're in your garden or in your kitchen or in your car or podcasting us, whatever it is. If you want to pick up our live feed, you can download our YouTube video.
Go to tomdouglasandcompany.com and click on the class at Hot Stove. You'll see the Hot Stove radio show.
So you can watch a few episodes.
Yeah.
Jackie has actually been listening to them on the way back and forth to the farm. Normally, I don't make her reading list, but lately she's been listening to the podcast, so she quite enjoys it. She especially likes when I talk about her. So I imagine she'll join you with a few gummies and watch asparagus grow in Eastern Washington.
hope so.
too. Yeah. Mom, let's talk about mom for a minute. We have a whole segment dedicated to mom, and it's been front and center on my mind because I still am not used to my mom's stove sitting right here in the Hot Stove Society kitchens. Do we have a picture of that online?
We posted it on Instagram.
Oh, doing good. But it still reminds me, probably more than ever, because over the last 20 years, I didn't see her all that much, maybe a couple times a year. But having that stove there just reminds me, like, oh my God, she cooked meals for 10 people for 50 years, 3 times a day, forever. I mean,
Well, I wanted to hear more about that because that takes so much organization and just the sheer volume of food. When I'm following a family in the grocery store and I see the carts like mounded up, I can't even imagine. Your mom was tiny. How did she push the cart to have enough food for 10 people?
exactly. So she got tinier. I'll say that. She wasn't always as tiny as she ended up. But I do remember as kids, we would each grab a grocery cart and we would follow her around the store. And she would shop on Saturday mornings because we were all in school and had sports on, whatever. And she had a budget. She always lived by her budget that my dad gave her, honestly. So that was her grocery budget. So we would go down and then we would leave with 5 mounded carts.
Oh,
And then
my
we'd all
Lord.
carry in the groceries and we'd put them wherever she told us to put them. And that's how she planned her meals throughout. She had 2 big chest freezers in the basement and 3 refrigerators, one in the garage, one in the basement, one in the kitchen.
Was she working from a very orchestrated list?
Just her favorites, just the things that she always made. Whether it was when my dad was coming home off the road, she would always make chili noodles, which was his favorite.
What is that?
It's a Cincinnati thing where you make, it's like beef chili with spaghetti. essentially.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not any
Chili
different.
noodles. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds just like
Yeah.
you would do a. I mean,
Meat sauce.
yeah,
we
meat
rarely
sauce.
had like a prime rib unless it was Christmas or
Right,
something
right.
like that.
That's
We-
too expensive.
And then my dad would pick up things when he was driving around that were on sale. My dad, you couldn't stop him from going for a sale. He would drive 50 miles an hour or 50 miles out of his way to save a penny a gallon on gas. So he was just wired that way. So he was when Costco came around and he realized there was free food at Costco, every lunch was planned around the demo stations at Costco, and he'd eat for free on the road. So it was just one of those crazy things that I even wrote when I wrote his obituary. I even wrote about him and all the extra food Costco's going to have now because my dad's not perusing the aisles. How about you, Chef Terry? Tell us the story about how your mom dealt with you rascals.
Mother's Day.
How many were there? There were
Just three.
three of you.
3 kids, 1 brother, 1 sister. Mother's Day was very simple. It was a little bit festive, obviously, and we always made a a card for mom, and we write something for nice little note each for mom. But there was usually lunch on a Sunday, and it would be mostly rabbit. Was one of the very
You cooked your
highlight.
mother rabbit on Mother's Day?
We didn't cook it. My mom would cook it.
You
she
made
would
your
cook-
mother cook on Mother's Day?
Yes, she would cook it.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean, when you're 10 years old, you take the rabbit. You're not gonna do a good job with the rabbit, I think, as well as she would. And she would cook it in a pressure cooker, which wouldn't take very long. In an hour, my mom would have the rabbit on the table. So
And your dad was never like,
he was never a
take a
cook.
turn
My
cooking?
dad would help a little bit in dicing and mostly making sure the kids would do what they're supposed to do
Right.
during Mother's Day,
Right.
which is make sure you get your cards, your flour, go in the backyard, pick up some flowers, and do all that stuff. But for the food, my dad would dress the table. I mean, he would put the table together, but he wouldn't be cooking. My mom would always do the cooking. My mom was like your mom. She was like cooking 3 meals a day. I mean, at breakfast, we don't eat breakfast. So it was very simple: toast and butter and jam, and then hot cocoa or, as a child, or coffee for the adults.
Pam, did your mother rue the day that you had to cook for her because you would only cook vegetables? How long were you a vegetarian in your mom's house? Were you?
It wasn't until I left for college.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't impose that on him, but I did try to get him to start eating guacamole. But so many times I just threw it in the woods around their house because nobody would eat it. And I would make piles of it because I thought it was the best food ever. But my mother wasn't a cook. Last year at this segment, we talked about her epic Jello salads. And
Which, by the way, I heard at her memorial, there was no Jello
No
salad.
salad, I
You were
know.
lying to us.
I promised Mike and Jackie that there would be Jello. And we had the crustless ham sandwiches.
Uh-huh.
We had the most delicate cream puffs with that perfect creme anglaise inside, just the tiny ones that were my favorite
You mean pastry
ever.
cream?
Somebody made them.
Pastry cream, yeah. Yeah. There's a little guild of ladies at the church
Oh.
that do those events. But my mother's legacy for my cooking style was her grilled cheese sandwich. That was one thing she really mastered
Mhm.
and taught me about putting mustard in your grilled cheese sandwich.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's
exactly what it should be.
Velveeta, American cheese, real cheese?
Sliced American cheese.
Sliced American cheese.
So I have upgraded to Beecher's, but it's still the butter and the mustard.
Yeah, I mean, a good beecher with mustard and a good bread. I mean, excellent.
Top
Who
notch.
doesn't like that? That and a little tomato soup. Excellent lunch.
I love it. So congrats to all the moms out there. It's a hard job making those babies. And I know my daughter who's,
I think making them is the easy part. Raising them is the hard part.
yeah, well, making doesn't look like, Loretta's got twins in the oven. So it doesn't look like a whole lot of fun to me. Up next, we're going to talk about crispy tofu. I can smell it. Pam's got it in the waffle iron. Tofu in the waffle
do.
iron. On Cairo, it's the Hot Stove Society Show, 97.3 FM. What do you want from us here, Pam?
I want you to taste the effect of putting it in the waffle iron. So the one on the left,
This is different.
Just take a picture of it in the iron. Don't put your fork on it. We're going to send it out there. So.
We'll probably go. If then you take that away, then it's still people have eggs or cheese or something. I'm not gonna try. Yeah, I mean, I could live without the sausage. Because I think it's weird that. And then the finished product, and now has healthy milk.
Right?
So are we putting, are we having,
Cut off a piece for
are we having
yourself.
bacon and maple syrup?
This is marinated,
Yeah,
but dry.
Yeah.
And then this is not
this,
marinated.
it was the salt wash, that hit thing, the darker one.
Looks like.
Which
What's your favorite, Tom?
I love them both.
Do you want to cut a little piece and try?
Pam, what would you do with that after you?
Well, the reason I was first
This
saw
is a
it
great
was
question.
People were recommending it for breakfast if you weren't.
Oh, if you need eggs.
So you
Okay.
could then put an avocado on it if you were having avocado.
Oh, I might have to get a waffle. So if you were a non-gluten vegan.
Yeah, there's like so many. But there would be so many things you could add to it, like salsa
So
or
almost.
there was some beautiful like rice stuffings. So you would do the tofu crust and then make it veggie rice. But I don't know, the waffle iron really texturally
There's nothing wrong with it. Yeah.
guys anywhere.
Tofu. Well, let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Did you spray your waffle iron
I
with
was supposed
avocado
to.
oil first?
You don't need to with that Teflon waffle iron.
But wouldn't that make it crispier?
I didn't
Oh,
know.
that might, yeah. But there was oil in the marinade, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So add oil in it. That's good.
Yeah, it's a super salty broth.
Which one?
I mu- I
Which one
must
is
have-
salty? So that's the one that's not even done with
Yeah.
salt water,
Both
It
of
was
them are
just the
salty.
soy.
just soy sauce.
Oh, it's all over the food internet now. They're putting everything in waffle iron.
Pam has never met an internet food story that she hasn't fallen in love with.
So easily down the rabbit hole. What else could I put in my waffle iron? Spaghetti. They do spaghetti in waffle iron.
No. They're already hard enough to clean. Why would you want to do that to yourself?
It's Teflon. Just pops right up. And we're back. It's time for Teflon roasted waffles made out of tofu right here in the hot stove kitchen. You know, when these subjects come up, Terry, you know as well as I do that there's only one person that they can emanate from,
That's right.
and that would be our producer, Pam Hinckley. So, Pamela, tell us why it is that you just pulled two little pieces of firm tofu out of our waffle iron that is now probably ruined for life.
I'm looking for that crisp outer coating
Mhm.
to-
Of a tofu
on the tofu
without deep
to
frying.
get my husband to eat it.
Oh, that's a
And
different
so
story.
It's a different story. And so I've tried both in the cast iron with a layer of oil or tossed in cornstarch and oil and in the oven with mixed results.
Mhm.
So this was
The
just,
result being that it wasn't crispy enough.
it wasn't crispy
Okay.
enough or I dried it out too much, because you do still want that nice pillowy softness in the
Mhm.
center. The reason I was doing this is because I saw on Serious Eats this really engaging salad, tofu, kale, avocado, grapefruit with a miso tahini dressing. But the trick is to get the tofu perfect.
Mhm.
So
Trying to
there's
put
a-
all those flavors together, it sounds a little bit random.
It sounded like maybe there's one or there's 10 too many
Right,
ingredients.
right. It sounds
But
like
I made it last night
Mhm.
with tofu done both ways in the waffle iron or in the cast iron, and it was a wonderful mixture of flavors. There's the depth of the sesame from the tahini, and then you get that bright lift with the grapefruit and crunchy tofu. It was perfect, and I used sorrel, arugula, romaine as the green base.
Oh, you had nice greens.
Yeah, it requires a great layer of greens. The recipe calls for kale, but
So the only
I'm
thing I
over
would
kale.
say is you marinated your tofu in soy, which is a very
She
norm-
did 2 different marinades.
right. One with soy and the other one with
well, no, the one recommendation is because to get fried tofu crispy, it has to be dry,
right.
and so you're supposed to just
You start with firm tofu,
always
And
firm.
put it on paper towels,
Paper
dry it
towel.
out,
Yep.
or
yeah,
press it,
or press it.
and
But the other recommendation is to do hot boiling salted water over the tofu, and